Live. We're live.
All right, I think Facebook's got us on, so let me hit the record button right here, and we should be ready to go. Good morning, everybody. It is Sunday morning, December 2nd, and you are watching us here again, twin brothers from different mothers, Aaron Phillips and Neal Portnoy.
And we have a guest with us today.
We certainly do.
Good
Sitting
morning.
with us is a dear friend of ours and someone who is very involved in the community in terms of helping people be better people. Elynne Jacobson joins us. Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm wonderful. Good morning, boys.
Yeah, boys.
And
I haven't been called a boy in a long time. That's
okay,
kind of nice.
it's
I
all right.
appreciate that.
We
No,
can
it's
do
good.
what we can do.
That's all right. I like it. So you could see that Neal and I are donning our Hanukkah gear today because tonight is the first light, right?
Correct.
First light tonight, first day tomorrow. We were talking a little bit about this yesterday, right? About the Hanukkah stuff.
Have you got your gifts underneath the menorah?
Well, if I did, they'd be really small gifts because our menorah is really small and low to the ground.
You know, I never thought about that.
That's
Maybe
right.
at my house, we have Dorothy's got the Christmas tree up, and we have the menorah on the other side of the room.
Right.
And she's already got gifts under the tree. Hey, we look good with these hats on.
I'm telling
the
you,
picture.
yeah, it looks like we're a little frozen on Facebook right now, but that's okay.
And the red from
Little release.
Taylor Swift behind us is
Oh,
really showing up well.
Oh,
Yes,
my
and Marilyn's
goodness.
behind us, keeping an eye on everything.
Yeah.
So we should be popping back in there. So no, it is not Saturday. That was yesterday. And as we mentioned yesterday, this is a special edition, episode number 6 of Twin Brothers from Different Mothers. As Elynne, I'm going to have to keep practicing. I've known you so
Whatever.
long, and I've just kind of slurred through the name inappropriately.
Don't
It's
even
okay,
ask me, 'cause
everybody
you know I
does.
can't spell or pronounce
that is-
certain things.
Exactly.
So I'm going to go E.
There you go.
Excellent.
There,
I love
that's
it.
a good shortcut. So anyway, so here we are today. By the way, I got to say, Neal, after yesterday's show, and just chime in whenever you want to, because we're not officially getting to you just yet. This is kind of like our little opening segment. But chime in when you want to. Chime. Yesterday, I mentioned this to you. Yesterday was like a dream day for me. Not because Eileen and Alyssa were out of town. Okay, so let me put a disclaimer out there first.
Uh-oh.
But I left here, wasn't feeling 100% as we talked about before the show, and I sat home by myself and I watched nothing but the 3 major college football games.
Hey, what'd you think of the Alabama game against Georgia? What a great game. What a great story.
Yeah, and I feel so bad for Georgia. I feel, I wanted them to win because I wanted there to be tumult and chaos in the top 4.
There's going to be, because they may not be in the top 4.
Who?
Now,
Georgia?
Georgia, because they're talking about Oklahoma,
Right.
which beat Texas again, a tremendous game.
Watch that game too.
Close game, not by the score, but a closer game than the score finish.
Would give you, right?
And then you have Ohio State.
Oh, yes. I watched that game too.
And, they won big, but again, it was much closer than the final score.
Absolutely.
Who do you put in? I was watching Herb Street this morning.
Herb Kirk Street.
Yeah, the H is silent.
Right.
Did we do that with another guest?
Yeah, I think it was a J. See, we're moving the alphabet down, that's silent.
It was Welcome to Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Remember that? Okay, good. And he was talking about it and going, who do you put in for the 4th team?
Yeah.
Are you going to have Georgia back in, and then you've got Alabama, Georgia again with the one playing the 4?
I don't think they want that.
They don't
Oh,
want that.
God,
They
I'm
want the same
sitting
thing.
between 2 doppelgangers that sound like my ex-husbands.
Uh-oh.
Holy moly.
Well, we're going to do a show in the upcoming weeks. We're going to call it our X.
Oh, I
All the
should be in
stories
there.
going
I
to
have
be
plenty.
related to X's.
There you go.
So I got a couple.
I don't have any exes. I've been married 30 years. I have no ex.
Oh, what
Unless
are you?
my significant other does, and I don't know about it. That would really be
We
bad.
don't tell anybody anything.
No.
No.
We keep it hush hush.
That
Yes.
could be a story for the financial, whatever we talked about. Who knows? You
Who
don't
knows?
know.
You don't know.
But how many X's do you have?
2.
2. Can you share with us?
That'll be like
how
x
many
squared.
years?
Isn't that like an algebra problem? X squared? 2 x's, x and a square.
Listen, all I remember is if B equals C, if B is congruent to C, B must equal C. That's all I remember. I don't know what the hell it means.
A squared
It
plus
doesn't
B
mean
squared equals
anything.
It doesn't mean anything?
Not a thing.
Yeah, speak into the microphone. I'm going to put it in your direction.
Oh my goodness gracious! I
So-
got all this power.
You know what? As long as you have the microphone, let's
Sure.
get started. I want you to share with our audience, both the listening audience and the watching audience, because we are live on Facebook, and I want to say hello to Richard, who's watching us out there right now. Let's talk about your background. How did you get started in this field in the first place? Because what you do, and for those who don't remember, we mentioned you yesterday, you are a master level practicing counselor, working with physically and mentally challenged, which is perfect for Neal and I, hypnotherapist, Reiki, and emotional freedom therapy practitioner. So your business card, first of all, must be about 12 feet long with all of that on there. But talk about how you got involved in it, because you have a great history and you're great with people. And so talk about that a little bit.
I started, and I won't tell what year, I started doing casework when I was right out of college, the first time.
Right.
First degree. And I don't know, I've always liked helping people. That's been my thing my entire life. I don't know, I was the perfect little good girl, so going into helping professions was exactly what I should be doing.
So you felt like it was almost like a calling for you.
It was calling and whatever else it was.
Well, it's a good thing you answered the call then, because if it was on hold, that would not be good for people.
Along the way, I started working when my kids were little. I started working as a job placement developer.
Okay.
For people who were on workers' comp. And I don't know, I got to know all the doctors in Chicagoland area and just really had a lot of good stuff taught to me.
So, are you originally from Chicago?
I am.
What
Sitting
part?
between the two of you.
You got Boston and New York, Jersey.
Well, I'm right down the middle. I'm right down the middle.
I got to ask you though, are you a sports fan at all? Cubs or White Sox?
Cubs.
Okay.
It's not a question.
Well, that's why I'm asking. Cubbies, I always get them confused. They're the north side?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
It's the first time I got that right.
And then I'm also a Bulls fan.
Okay, so you're Chicago at heart. You follow the Bears?
Oh my God, yes.
Bears?
No, I do not.
Well, they're playing like Giants today.
Well, I don't care.
Thank you, Elynne, for coming on today. We appreciate your time. I still love it.
We're going to break for commercial.
That's right.
We'll be back in 15.
Oh.
I got to share a funny little story, though. You know, my wife Dorothy's from New York, and of course I'm from Boston. So when I met my father-in-law for the first time, he looked at me and said, you know, we have something in common.
Uh-oh.
And I looked at him and said, what the hell can we have in common? You're from New York, I'm from Boston. He looked at me and said, we both hate the Yankees. I'm a Mets fan.
Oh, no.
Oh, I
That's
love
not
it.
good. What am I
Okay.
doing in this room with you two? I don't know.
I don't know. It's awful fun being between the two doppelgangers.
Put the arm down, because it's across. There you go. It's right in the middle
Oh
of your
my
face.
goodness.
There you go.
No, I started out being a Blackhawk fan. But
Well, that's
now
okay. That's still a Chicago team.
I know.
Are you a Knights fan, though? Like the rest of us?
Yeah, very much so.
Did you go to any games last year at all?
Nope.
Do you want to go to see a game live?
Yes.
You need a mortgage to get tickets nowadays.
I know. That's why I didn't go for a game. I'd love to do that.
Yeah, it would be fun.
It would be.
You know what's very funny? When the Knights first came here, people were going, we're going to have hockey in the desert.
Absolutely.
Really? This is going to work?
Yes.
And then they said, well, look, we're going to have it at the T-Mobile Arena.
The new arena, right?
And what's going to happen is when the Rangers come in, when the Bruins come in,
Sure.
when the Blackhawks come in, the people, the transplants from those cities are going to want to go to the games.
Right.
What they didn't realize was the Knights did something very, very unique and very successful.
Yes.
They immediately after 1 October got out into the community
Right.
where
Absolutely.
people started to accept them. And all of a sudden, what happened? They started to win. And
Absolutely.
they started to gather and gain their own fan base. So people weren't going to see the Bruins, the Blackhawks, the Rangers. They were going to see the Knights.
Yes.
And the Knights were in the community, and now they've got a tremendous fan base that's just going to grow. Hey, look, they almost won the Stanley Cup in their inaugural season.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, they won the Stanley Cup for this community because, as you
Absolutely.
pointed out, they started on right after 1 October, and they were a very important thread in bringing our community back to life, so to speak, after the event.
They are a wonderful, wonderful group. They're marvelous. They're very much community oriented.
Mm-hmm.
They do for the community, and after 1 October, they really jumped in. They're fabulous. I just so admire them.
And now they're playing well. It looks like they're finally kind of got they're over 500 finally, so it looks like they're kind of playing much better than the season started. But yeah, they are an important part of the community, and I know that you know their games are still selling out. Like we said, you can hardly get into the place to see a game live.
And I didn't even know that the practice place was right near my house.
Right.
And I never knew it.
And
City National Arena, right?
Downtown Summerlin. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I drove past it a million times, and I went, oh, okay.
Yeah, what is that, right?
Yeah,
They have a great restaurant supposedly up on the second floor that's open to the public for lunch and dinner.
Oh,
So
Which overlooks the hockey arena. It
Oh, it
overlooks
has-
the arena.
overlooks
It has
the
all the
practice?
big windows, so it's really a pretty neat place.
we'll have to get up there. I haven't been up there yet.
okay, let's
So,
go.
Let's go for lunch
I
right
love
after
it.
the show.
Look, when it hits 115 degrees in the valley,
Right.
and you want to get cooled off,
That's the
go
place to go.
into the arena.
Absolutely. There you go.
Well, now I know, but it took a long time to find out. And yes, I have been working in the field forever and ever and ever.
What did you do before you got in the field?
I was working as a rehabilitation counselor.
Okay. Physical or emotional rehab?
I
Or both?
started out with orthopedic and neurologic and head trauma.
Okay.
And I had some training over at the Rehab Institute of Chicago, plus all the doctors that I was friends with.
Okay.
I moved to Florida, and that pretty much killed it. And I'm trying to think what I wanted to do. And at that time, I said, ooh, I really want to become a hypnotherapist. And my then husband looked at me and said, lots of luck, honey.
Did that seem so far out of left field for you when you had that thought?
No.
Being a hypnotherapist, it seemed like
No.
it was a natural progression.
It was. It's just what I wanted to do. I knew I could do it well. I felt good about it. I had been hypnotized with great expectations, and the success rate was fabulous. I never did become one,
Okay.
and I did a lot of other things in health and nutrition and
Right.
all kinds of things. And that was pretty much it for a long time till I moved to Vegas.
Now let's be clear, when we talk about hypnosis, we're not talking about the kind you would see on the stage here in Vegas where you make
No.
somebody bark like a dog.
No,
Which is what Neil was hoping would happen to me today if we got into that, because we were talking about
we'll
this
try
yesterday.
it. We'll try it and see if it works. I'm not real good at that.
Oh, well, we don't have to, if you're not ready, I'm fine with that.
So in other words, if you start meowing, it did not work.
It did not work. Exactly right.
Well, it might have, because who knows what I might have done.
Ooh.
Oh,
Kind of reverse psychology on that one, right? Bark like a dog, but you're really a cat?
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Do you know the difference between a dog and a cat?
No.
You call a dog, he comes, right?
Mm-mm.
You call a cat, he looks, he says, look, I'll take a message. I'll get back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Listen, you never know with cats. They are very temperamental. All right, so let's talk about a couple of things. First of all, you have a great event coming up. We'll talk about the event, and then we'll get into the minutia. On Monday, December 10th or 17th. Now, is it the same class, 1 to 3 p.m.
Yes.
or 7 to 9? Is it the same class,
Yes.
all 4 sessions?
Yes.
So anybody needs to sign up for one of the 4.
Just for one.
Perfect. So beginning Monday, December 10th or 17th, 1 to 3 p.m. or 7 to 9 p.m., hypnosis sessions to alleviate stress and guilt. New, a lot of Jewish people could use this to get rid of the guilt. Don't we have the guilt gene? Or is
Oh,
that
wait
what
a
we have?
minute. Guilt doesn't hold any barriers. Let me tell you.
Okay.
You
So-
don't have to be Jewish to be guilty.
No, that is true. That is
You
true.
could be
I thought it was guilt.
Guilt?
Guilt?
This time of year, it's guilt.
Guilt will get you killed.
Guilt, yeah, exactly. So it's holiday stress and guilty eating, which is quite interesting. So it's time to let go. Even the happiest times bring on the upload of stress, shopping, finances, meal preps, family get-togethers, and buying. We talked about all this yesterday. We even have a cheat sheet. See, we were in tune with what she wants to do. Time, where do you get enough? The holiday has arrived, cookies, candies, cakes, wine, the main meal, and a day and night full of noshing. Oh, and the leftovers the next day. Or was it what you picked on while cooking and serving? It's time to get hold of this madness.
yes.
So, mark your calendars, December 10th or 17th, middle of the afternoon, 1 to 3. For those of you working, you can go 7 to 9. Your choice, just go to one of the 4 sessions. It's only $99 a person. However, there's a
I
deal.
love it.
If there's more, but wait, there's more. Bring a guest, and each of you only pay $89. So you save $20 on 2 people, right?
Where
Yes.
is it going to be held? I'm reading my little cheat sheet here, and getting caught up on all my Yiddish with all these terms, but I don't see where is it going to be held.
Actually, it's going to be held in my home where you're going to be nice and comfortable on a couch or on an easy chair. And That's one of the reasons I'm doing 4 sessions, because I can do probably between 5 and 7 for each session. And everybody's nice and comfortable. And if we need more, I'll do more sessions.
There you
It's
go.
not a problem.
That's right, there's plenty of time. So if you are interested, which I think you should be to get a grip before the season really kicks in, contact Elynne, certified hypnotherapist. You can give her a call at 702-277-5856. That's 702-277-5856, or email her, Elynne Jacobson, Jacobson, not En, at gmail.com. Now, what if can somebody out of state participate, like on Skype or something?
We can do, but I would do it separately.
Oh, okay.
But yes, I do a lot of Skype sessions.
Okay.
And I also do Zoom sessions.
Right, Zoom is the new Skype. I got to get used to saying Zoom, not
Yeah,
Skype.
but Zoom, I've done the Zoom sessions, and you got to call into this number, then be accepted into that group, or if there's several people coming in.
It's just like gotomeeting.com. It's the same. You have a group number, but it can be set up as a
Do
one.
they have a space like Lyft and when you go to get a car and something, they have little areas with little signs, Lyft area. So is it like a Zoom area, or?
No, when you come to me and you zoom up and you're lifted right up.
You're zoomed right out of your brain.
That's like Tesla. Tesla has a feature in their new. I won't go there. I'm sorry.
And I followed one coming here too. I was like, what the heck?
Oh, wow.
Aaron, for a short period of time, was part of the Tesla group.
Yes. For a very short
For
time.
a very short time, but
Thank
now it's
goodness.
become a twin brothers from different mothers
Joke.
joke that we always, at least one segment of the show has
Brings it
to
up.
deal with Tesla.
Anyway, I want to say hi to Hattie. Is that somebody that you know? Hattie Leon. I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing your last name right, but Hattie, thank you for joining us in the chat room. Appreciate you for checking in. If you have any questions, please by all means type it in there, and we'll be happy to share it with our guests as
Hey,
well.
you know what? I keep looking at the screen, and,
Yes.
and these hats are impressive.
Aren't they though?
Well,
Every time you move, that dreidel just keeps moving around in
you know
such a way
what?
that's
With
mesmerizing.
with this congestion still in my head, and the dreidel made it out of clay thing,
Right.
is like it's bouncing around, and it's a weird sensation.
Is it good head therapy?
I don't know. We're going to talk to Doc over here about the head therapy. That head therapy means something totally different in my past life.
That's
Never
right.
mind,
That's a
we're
whole
going to
other
go
story.
there.
That's a different kind of therapy. But anyway, we digress very quickly. So,
That's all right. I can't keep up with you anyway.
I know.
Not a big deal.
Crazy. So seating is somewhat limited. So 5 to 7 people per session. If more want to sign up, that's cool. That's a nice problem to have.
Yes.
So again, that's Monday, December 10th or 17th. You have choices of 1 to 3 p.m. or 7 to 9. So let's talk a little bit about the session. Now, a lot of people sort of poo-poo the idea of hypnosis. Does it really work? Does it not work? Talk about the value of hypnosis and how it's applied today in what you do.
Well, first of all, I want to tell everybody, and this is a big surprise, you're in hypnosis most of the time. How many of you have been driving around and then look up and go, wait a minute, how did I get here? I didn't remember it. That's a state of hypnosis. Hypnosis strictly means being open to suggestion. That's all it means. We walk around in hypnosis most of the time. Right now, I'd like to be hypnotized right between these two. Oh my goodness!
Would that be a good hypnosis? I don't know.
I don't know.
What would you want? What would you want to be hypnotized by us for?
A little sanity.
Oh, you've come to the wrong place for that. Wait a minute. Let's recheck the count on that one. I'm not sure that works.
Well, I walked into a restaurant one day and I thought Aaron was there because the woman had her back to me, so I didn't know who it was, except it was Neal.
Right.
And I just went, oh my God, it's 2 faces in one.
That's a commonality between us.
I love it.
Well, you're not alone. I mean, Aaron's wife walked into a restaurant.
Take the mic.
Yep. Aaron's wife walked into a restaurant and didn't see him immediately and started heading directly toward me until she realized it was not him.
My own wife.
And we went to my mother's house, which is a place up in Sun City, Summerlin, an Italian restaurant. And Aaron's sitting there first time with his wife. And the waitress who waited on them was afraid to go over to the table because she thought it was me and couldn't say hi because I was with a different woman until at the end of the night she put two and two together.
Right.
And listen, that's why this show started.
I love it.
Very similar personalities. Radio is Aaron's forte.
I don't need another name. Thanks.
Really, I'm in trouble with two of them that you have. And you know, mine the sports and the artwork and all that. But we hit it off immediately, and we don't have a script for this show. We just let it go, and it's funny. It's informative. We have tremendous guests on. Am I hypnotized now because I'm saying stuff I never thought?
I know. I've never heard those words come out of your mouth.
I got a good shave today. Huh? Did you like that?
Yeah, you did.
This hat is
I'm
impressive.
so
I keep
proud.
looking at myself on the screen.
He has his dreidel going up and back.
He's dangling his dreidel.
So cute.
Anyway, so all right, so let's go back to hypnosis.
Serious.
Let's get
Very
serious for at
serious.
least 2 minutes. So let's talk about this.
These sessions are lead-ins.
Okay.
Okay, the first thing, these sessions are meant to relieve your stress, because stress can be for good things or bad things.
Right.
But at holiday time, they usually revolve around food and money and time and cooking and shopping and what should I get, and if I got the wrong thing, and what is Aunt this going to think or the kid's going to think if they don't get what they want. Where am I going to get the money for it? It's a really hard time. And even for people who are not following Christmas per se, but it's still the same thing. Even right now during Hanukkah, which starts tonight, there's gifts to be given, there's money to be spent, there's food to be prepared. Everything involves a certain amount of stress, and it's not fun.
And it's hard to for a lot of people to deal with that on top of their normal everyday existence.
Well, I've been through all of this, and I understand what it's like, and I know that you have too. Both of us have lost tremendous amounts of weight and gone through all kinds of things to stop the guilty eating. And that's the other thing that happens during the holidays. People get very, very guilty about what they're eating. I mean, the candy and the cookies and the wine and the liquor that's out on the table, and you're going, I can't touch that, I can't touch that. But that's not true, because if you don't touch it, you get very angry the next day, and you really start eating terribly. So my motto is have a little bit of everything, with the idea that the next day you're going to get back on track. Don't feel guilty about what you're doing. It's not worth it. It adds to the stress. It adds to everything. And if you think you're immune to it, I guarantee you you're not. I've been there. I know what it's like. And I know a lot of people who look just perfectly calm that are just seething inside. It's not good. So I really can help you. Really. And I know I can. I've seen a lot of progress over the years with people that I've helped. And the other thing that I really want to say, this is a segue into something I'm going to be doing in January. For the entire month of January, I am going to be doing a release of eating program. And what that means is all the guilt that you bring to eating, all the programs that you've been on to lose weight, this is something different. You will be regressed back to the point in time that you started with the bad habits and the eating. And I will be doing regressions one-on-one with each client, and the rest of the month we will be working on how you get hold of your eating. Because all the programs out there are simply, I don't know what the great word is, but it's a way that people just buy things so that they can get better, and then they lose weight and gain it right back. It's got to be a whole change in system and feelings. And say something.
Say something. Listen, all three of us have lost weight different ways. Everybody talks about, I'm going on this program.
Right.
On a weight loss. Well, first of all, it's not a weight loss program.
No.
It is a lifestyle change.
Amen.
And we have to program our mind, our body, our actions, our daily sessions of how we do things, the key word being how, and it's a lifestyle change. Aaron had surgery to help him. He's lost well over 100 pounds. I had lost 60 pounds just by, not having bread or potatoes.
Right.
Or making smaller portions. They always say if it can fit in the palm of your hand, I have big hands. You have little hands. So I'd have a little meal if I had your hands. And guys lie about sizes anyhow. So
That's another topic.
Oh.
We're not
The
going to
one thing I
discuss
hate about
that.
when I have to go out and have a big meal and I get on the scale the next morning, the scale looks at me and says, one person at a time, please.
Well, jeez.
I don't get on anymore.
No, I don't get on the scale very often anymore either, because I've learned, I know what's going to be eaten, and I know what guilt I'm going to have if I don't stay on track. And that's the big problem, because all these programs out there, not including surgery or reducing your carbs, but all the other programs out there are just symptomatic.
You're talking about like the Jenny Craig's where you buy foods and stuff like. I'll say it. I mean,
okay.
You're talking about those type of programs where you have to buy the food to supplement the program,
Or count points.
right? Or count points and all that sort of stuff.
That's
like
correct.
Weight Watchers,
But
which
they
I was on.
never get to the root cause.
Right.
And it's the root cause that keeps us eating. I've ballooned up and down so many times. If I tell you, I used to be a size 22.
Wow.
Yeah.
No way.
No, really. And I do have a picture to prove it.
Wow.
Where
You
I
know,
was-
it's funny because when I reached my 1-year anniversary of my surgery and I went to my doc, he said to me, within the first couple of years, most people who had surgery will gain back about 15% of whatever their lowest number was.
That's correct.
And he said the only way to prevent that, and this is kind of what I think what you're sort of referring to, is to stay compliant to what they call the program. Now, my program and my wife's program is not like what you're referring to with the prepared meals and all that sort of stuff, or counting calories or points or whatever. This is the big lifestyle change where we're just eating better. And I remember we usually go to our surgeon's office and we stand in front of the monthly group that are coming in to investigate the procedures.
Right.
And gentlemen in the audience asked us, quote unquote, if we'll ever go back to eating normal. And so Elynne and I looked at each other and we said, well, what is normal?
What's the new normal?
Right, and for us, we now know what the normal should be. So the doctor, who was there, of course, because we were not talking anything medically, chimed in and he said, did you know that the way people eat today at just one meal, breakfast, lunch, or dinner, with the oversized portions and going to buffets, that one meal would be enough to sustain an individual over 3 days.
Well,
Yes.
So you tell me who's eating normal.
Dorothy and I have gone out with you and Elynne for dinner and meals, and I marvel at the fact that the two of you order one meal, don't finish your half, and take the rest home in a to-go box. And I'm like, are you kidding me?
My refrigerator is Styrofoam City.
Yeah, listen, if it works for you,
Absolutely.
not just physically, but I'm sure E will.
Mentally.
I like to say E. It's a lot
I'll
easier for me.
accept E.
Psychologically, mentally,
Right.
which is part of what you're training and what you offer for people is, listen, you know, and I watched our session 4 back, and I say the word listen way too many times. So I got to come up with a synonym for listen.
Okay.
We'll look it up on the Funkin' Wagnall 3rd edition.
We certainly will.
I almost said it again. Listen.
Oh, my goodness.
What you do is offer a service to people to change their lifestyle. You know, it's a lifestyle change. And you said something very interesting to me earlier. You said, you know, because I still have my bad baseball habit where I, you know, chew tobacco. My wife would love for me to quit. I would like to quit. And you said to me, you have to want to do it.
Right.
Yep.
You have to want to do it. So if our listening and watching audience out there has something that they want to do, but they're not capable for whatever reason, it could be physical, it could be psychological, that they're not able to do what they want to do, I would highly recommend reaching out to E here with the contact info, which you'll laugh at me because I said E.
I'm going to start saying the same thing.
It's
That's
easier to
okay.
Because in my head, I've got the name going. I'm like, that just doesn't
Yeah,
sound
it does
right.
sound right.
Or EJ. You like EJ?
Oh, that's fine.
Okay, EJ.
I'm
All right.
so accepting.
Listen, I get confused very easily. Don't do that to me.
Okay.
I'm going to stick with E.
Okay.
But I would say reach out to her and look at
Yeah.
the contact info again
Absolutely.
numerous times during today's show. But it will be helpful for you. It's not a long-term commitment to say I want to, I'm going to. It's an initial commitment to say I'm going to. And if you're going to, and you make that commitment to go make the phone call, come to one of the sessions, you're not tied into doing 25 sessions and $3.2 million. If
Wait a
works,
minute. Wait.
okay, 6.4 million.
Thank you.
You're welcome. If it works for you, and it doesn't work for everybody,
Right.
let's just put it out there.
Right.
But you know what? If you can become a sponge and absorb. You know, when I used to do college coaching, I used to tell my players the same thing every day. If God wanted us to talk more, He would have given us 2 mouths and 1 ear.
Right.
If you're willing to sponge and listen, then you're ahead of the game, pal. That's what you got to do initially, and then listen to what E will
Guide you
teach you
through, right.
and guide you through, and then you make the decision. You know, it's. If you're, listen, there's that word, listen. When we get to the age that we are now, we become comfortable with old habits.
Right.
We all do it.
Ooh, not good.
And not good. You know, Doc just said not
Right.
good over here. You need to learn by listening how to change those bad habits where you change your lifestyle. And if you start feeling better, looking better, aren't you more apt to just do it? Dorothy's son, Andrew, who is now in Hawaii, he just left yesterday, a very accomplished guitarist. I mean, extraordinaire, friends with Jason Becker. I mean, a real talent. I used to say to him when I came into his life, and more importantly, when he came into my life, I would look at him and say, just Nike, baby. And he looked at
Just
me, what?
do it.
Nike, just do it.
That's correct. And if anybody wants individual sessions, I still do individual sessions. And I do that for all kinds of things. Even stop smoking.
There you go. That's a big one.
Oh,
Because those
yeah.
turn into New Year's resolutions,
Well,
Which you don't do.
which I don't do. That's my one resolution. No resolutions.
I don't do New Year's resolutions either.
So let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Okay. You know, and I'm sure you've come across them and have discussion with the naysayers about hypnosis and hypnotherapy. What's their issue with it, and how do you overcome that?
Well, first of all, I work very hard to establish contact and understanding and honesty with my clients so that they're comfortable. Because if you're comfortable and trusting me, you're going to go under very easily and be very accepting. As far as naysayers, I hear that a lot. Oh, I can't be hypnotized. Well, okay, if you say you can't, you can't.
Can't is not a word.
Well, whatever.
It's not, can't is not a word.
It's not in our dictionary.
Okay, well, if you say you can't, which isn't in the dictionary, and it's not a word, then you can't, which is also not in the dictionary. It works that way.
Did we just go in a circle?
I think so.
Okay,
Just
good.
stay with it. Just go with it.
Watch this. You ready? You ready for this?
Uh-oh.
Oh, you just
Why?
released?
I just got released. I snapped my fingers. I came out of it. I took the hat off.
Oi.
Yeah, but it's blinding now.
Yeah, I want to put it back on. I'm putting it back.
Hanukkah Harry over there.
That's right.
Where were we?
Yeah, the naysayers.
I've never had a problem. I had one person who told me she heard everything, and I was grateful because you're supposed to hear everything. You're not asleep in hypnosis. You're in a heightened session of relaxation. And if you don't want to relax, your problem. I can help you if you want.
Does the heartbeat go down? Are there
Everything.
physical signs that could be tested to say now you're in a state where you're more apt to absorb and sponge what I'm saying and hearing?
Well, yeah. And one of the things is when I do Skype or Zoom, the point is I watch their breathing, I watch their motions, I watch their eyelids, and I pretty much am good at telling whether they're really under or not.
How many years you been doing it?
8 or 9, something like that. Maybe longer. I don't know.
Busy, best success, worst failure.
Without giving
Worst?
names.
Oh, no names.
Are you under HIPAA, by the way, sort of? When you work with your clients?
I always keep my mouth shut. I don't talk about any client.
So you kind of adhere to like a HIPAA-like.
I adhere 100%.
Okay. I think that's important for people to know.
I will not share any confidences. Whatever happens between the client and me happens between the client and me.
Best success.
My best success. All of them. I'm sorry, but my worst failure was I must have hit something with a deeply rooted problem with one of my clients. And right in the middle of hypnosis, he got up and ran out of the session.
Wow.
It
Is he
freaked
still
me
running?
out.
Was his name Forrest Gump, by the way?
I don't think so. And yes, anybody can be hypnotized,
Okay.
even children.
So what we're talking about is that Elynne has a program coming up Monday, December 10th and or 17th. There are 4 sessions available on both days, 1 to 3 p.m., 7 to 9 p.m. It's a hypnosis session to alleviate stress and guilt, which I think a lot of people feel at this time of year. Suicide rates go up, depression rates go up, you're missing family, like we talked about before, stress of finance, deals dealing with in-laws and cousins and friends, whatever. So for $99, you can sign up. It's going to be held at her house. So seats are sort of limited. But if you bring a friend, instead of $99, each of you will get a $10 reduction off that rate for $89 each. So you get to save $20, which you can then use towards some gifts. How's that for segue?
For those who are just joining in on the Twin Brothers from Different Mothers podcast,
right?
Aaron, why don't you introduce our guest again?
Sure,
They
we
might
can do
just
that.
forgot
Oh, can
Absolutely.
I introduce me?
Well,
No.
well, there's a lady, the audience turns over, so it's a good point. So Elynne Jacobson, she's a master level practicing counselor experienced in working with physically and mentally challenged, hypnotherapist, Reiki, and emotional freedom, which I love those words, therapy practitioner. And she has a couple of programs coming up. The current one that you have about 8 days left to register for, at least for the 10th, 1 to 3 p.m., 7 to 9 p.m. You can give her a call at 702-277-5856, or you can email her at Elynne, E-L-Y-N-N-E, think Lynn with an E on the front, Jacobson, S-O-N, not S-E-N, at gmail.com, and mention that you heard about it through our show, just so that we can say hi.
I've got an interesting twist.
Okay.
My background, of course, forget the artwork, was sports. I was involved in...
Like she couldn't tell at the beginning of our show what we were talking about.
Darn.
Jock
What a
Talk 101.
Oh my God.
Have you ever thought, as a former college pitching coach, I used to tell parents that, and Yogi Berra made it a yogiism way back when he said, baseball is 90% mental and the other half is physical.
Right.
That's a yogiism. But do you ever think about going to high school and college athletic programs and offering your services to the athletic administration as a psychotherapist? Because you're talking about 18 to 21-year-old kids that may or may not, for the first time, away from home, away from family, in a foreign atmosphere, getting on a plane for the very first time. There may be fears of flying. There may be issues of living in a room with one person where they grew up living in a room with 9 people, the inner city athlete. I think it would be a tremendous advantage to athletic programs where you would be part of that solution to some of the inhibitions, some of the fears, some of the issues that these college athletes, to alleviate them. I don't know whether you ever looked at that angle, but I think it's a pretty good angle to even think about.
Oh, it sounds wonderful. Are you going to put me on a plane to go to the colleges?
Oh,
You can start right here with UNLV.
yeah, UNLV is right here,
And
Division
CSN.
One school, CSN.
Yeah.
Plus, you've got Gorman and you've got
Faith Lutheran and all the
all the schools, these prep schools that have tremendous. I mean, Gorman just won the state football title for the 10th year in a row, I think.
I would think in the high school, and correct me if I'm wrong, but do you have an age limit as to where someone could participate for something like this?
No.
So there could be a child on up to.
Actually, it depends on the age of the child.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because I would bet someone in high school and lower obviously need consent from parents.
Sure.
Oh, no, I have the parent, when I have someone that young, the parent is in the room with them. I want to make sure there's nothing that would be questionable.
Right. So that's good. So that's for your protection as well as the student.
Oh, yeah.
And we can market it as your Jewish grandmother to give you therapy. I mean, there's no better therapy than a Jewish grandmother.
There you go.
Boy,
Absolutely.
and I could give such guilt. It would be wonderful.
Aye, such a deal. We give you such a deal for guilt, for nothing. Okay, so what else do you look for? I mean, obviously you're going to cover a lot of things, and one of the things that I like that you mentioned in this program is getting to the root of it, right? To root of the stress and the root of the eating. How do you kind of delve into that with people on a general level?
Just do it from my own practice and from what I understand, what I need. And I script it to make sure that it goes right down to all these little factors. Because
Give us an example of a couple of the factors you're referring to. I mean, that you look for, that you touch on.
in a 2-hour session, which is what these will be,
Right.
there's not a lot of depth that I can go into without knowing the person well. And I admit that right up front. I can go as deep as I can in talking about why they're eating, talking about what the stress is all about, talking about being single during the holidays, being family oriented, being pushed around and have-tos. I can do all that because I understand that. But on a one-on-one basis in a group, you can't do that. You can only do generalizations, and I never would go beyond that. You got to be very careful. I don't want to do anything that goes beyond what I'm capable of doing
Right.
and what I've been trained to do.
So again, in a general session, what are some of the things that you, just without tipping your hand for everything, what are some of the generalizations you can do in a session that, is it something that allows the client to start thinking about these things, that you've put suggestions basically for them to think about, to delve into their own brain to get to the bottom of it?
Well, basically, I talk about what the stress is, and I give them relaxation techniques. I show them little techniques to be able to snap out of it, to go into their very warm and fuzzy place, to feel good about who they are, and to feel strong enough to reject things that may not fit their abilities at that time, because that's real important. You have to know how to say no. I can't do anymore. That's a biggie in stress.
So it sounds like you're also talking about mindset.
Oh, well, that's exactly what it is.
Almost sounds like a program that you and I are familiar with that we're working on together to a certain
But
degree.
I've been doing this for a long
No,
time.
no, I get that. I get that.
And yes, the program we're working on is that kind of mindset
Right.
of letting go of things that
Of
no
negative.
longer serve you.
Right.
And yes, I've been doing that for a long time, and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't always work for me, but for my clients it does.
The one thing I want to bring up, I've only been in Vegas now just under 3 years. And the one thing I learned about the Vegas scene, so to speak, is that a key word for people that are getting into business, want to promote something, is partnering. And I'm listening for the first time the whole Megillah of what you do.
That's read at Purim, by the way.
It's right, what?
It's read at Purim, the Megillah. Oh, Megillah. I'm sorry.
You guys are so bad.
He was a gorilla, wasn't he?
Megillah the
Megillah gorilla.
That's
Yes.
good. I like that.
Yeah.
I think
I digress.
no, it's okay. Digress
Don't
as much
we
as
all?
you'd like. I think it might be important for you, and my mind keeps going all the time. We talked about athletics, high school and collegiate athletics, partnering with athletic departments. Also, you know, with the Me Too movement and all of these other movements, and you know, Black Lives Matter, and one of the greatest T-shirts I ever saw was a black lab, a chocolate lab, and a yellow lab on a T-shirt, and it said "All labs matter."
There you
That's
go.
a pretty good shirt. But I mean, to get involved, to partner with certain organizational institutions, individuals, to, if nothing more, let them know that someone like yourself is available to whatever degree they might feel would benefit their organization and their causes. A lot of times, you know, we talk now about the bullying issues
Right.
Oh,
that are
terrible.
around. You know, how do you sit down? Listen, a little bit of, there's that word, listen. My background is, you know, I lost a mother at age 14, father in my early 20s, lived in a housing project, never owned a house, never owned a car. You know, psychologically, for me to be accepted by my peers, you know, thank God for baseball, thank God for the artwork, I had abilities.
You had an outlet.
I had an outlet. A lot of these kids don't have the outlet.
No.
I was watching television last night, and there's this gentleman in North Las Vegas that gets involved with after-school programs with soccer, football, basketball, and he's looking for people that, you know, want to give back to the kids, which, Aaron, you know, is my passion. I'm all
Right.
about the kids.
Right.
But there are other issues, not just putting them on a playing field where they get to deal with their down and saying, look, talk to me. What's troubling you? You know, key words that you probably use in a lot of your sessions. These kids that can't afford that type of help, there are organizations that will partner with their funds to supply someone like yourself to be offered to these type of individuals and organizations that need your expertise in what you do to help.
Are now available also on YouTube, so those who like YouTube, you can catch us there.
Because we're going to talk about a lot of different issues. We're going to bring
Right.
a lot of different guests in. We're open to, please, you know, log in, give us your suggestions, tell us how we're doing. You're doing good. You know,
So-
tell us whether we should wear these hats for all 8 days.
Right now, my head feels suffocated by this hat because it's a little small. I feel my brain starting to seep out of my ears right now. I'm gonna have to take it off here in a few
Listen,
minutes.
I know you can't see it, but
To get into a situation that I can't handle. I will do PTSD sessions if there is a psychologist or psychiatrist
partner.
working with me.
Gotcha. Oh, in the same session?
The same.
Okay, that makes sense. I can understand that.
Yes.
I can understand that.
I will never take on something that's above and beyond. I don't want to open a keg of worms that I can't
It
handle.
can't handle. No, that makes sense. That we've been talking about, like the pressures of life and the holidays. Is it obviously? I would think it's much higher at this time of year, perhaps, than the other
Oh, I
times of
mean,
the year.
even last night I went to a party and out on the table was everything that I normally do not eat.
Right.
But I said, that was my dinner.
Right.
I'm gonna have some.
You compensated for it, and you.
I didn't eat a lot.
Right.
But I did have, quote unquote, what people would consider cheating.
Right.
I had a cookie.
Those 2 Mondays, and you will get the benefit of a much more stress-free life.
You're looking for a stocking stuffer,
There you go.
a gift certificate, something for someone that's hard, that really needs but won't admit that
Won't
they
ask.
Yeah, they won't ask. You know, not a bad idea to say, look, you know, I want to partner with you with a resource of help. I'm going to give you a session with E. We saw them on twin brothers from different mothers. We listened to the whole program. We have a gift certificate. We'd like you to attend. You know what? We'll even come with you because we like the $10 off, and we'll see if it works for us.
Such a deal? Such a deal?
Such a deal.
I'd be afraid if you got Neil and I under hypnosis, what could happen with the two of us in a room together. I don't know if that'll be a good thing.
I don't know. We'll try after this session.
Uh-oh.
No, this has got to go live. We can't do it after we're off air because you know what? Just think of the possibilities. You might be able to draw.
More than stick people?
Well, I don't know.
I'll tell you what, maybe because Elynne's going to come back to us live on the 29th to talk about her next program in January, which you mentioned before, which, by the way, the January program is a 4-week class. It's a 4-week course. So start at the beginning, which was January 7th, 8th, was the first, whatever that first Monday is, right?
Right.
Through the next 4 weeks. So you have to start at the beginning of that session. So you're going to be back with us on the 29th to talk about that. Maybe that's the session she has a little fun with you and I.
Oh, that'll be fun. I would love that.
Just don't make us squawk like birds or dogs or anything.
Oh, darn.
No.
I finally was going to get to do that for the first time.
Unless you want to squawk like a duck or something.
And by the way, I do want to say one thing.
Okay.
The 4-week program includes a personal one-on-one session for regression so that you can be regressed back to the time when you started all the fun eating or the bad eating.
That I think is amazing, that you're able to tap into someone's subconscious and go back to that exact moment when that all starts.
That's like the computer. You know when your computer, like you've lost a file?
So, wrapping up, what words of advice would you offer to somebody who right now is maybe sitting on the fence about doing this for themselves, or like Neal suggested, doing it as a gift for somebody else? Let's talk to that person that's kind of wishy-washy about doing it.
Think about why you're wishy-washy. What are you afraid of? And let's talk about it. Because I'll be happy to talk with you before any session to find out what's going on and what you're afraid of. As far as taking care of yourself, that's got to be number one. If you don't take care of yourself, you can't take care of others.
Right on.
And you can't be good at doing all the things that are required for the holidays. And it doesn't matter what it is, gift wrapping included.
Now, you're also...
I said, that's it, it's mine.
That's right.
I'm keeping it. I'm not giving it away again. Anyway, and I lost my train of thought. So much for getting older.
We're just talking about, for those who need it, just do it and get it done.
Just do it. I mean, if you're not going to do it, do you really, really care about yourself enough?
And your family.
Never mind the family.
No, but you're number one. Absolutely.
A number one.
A number one. I like it.
Do for you.
Yes.
Do for you.
Yeah, it's about time you take care of yourself.
And I'll leave you with this thought. It's funny you're ending on that thought, because the session we did as part of that other program with David, did you do that with him yet?
Yes.
Okay. Did you do both or just the first one?
Both.
Okay, I did only one. So my belief statement that I came up with because of my struggles, I give myself permission to put myself first.
Oh, and I learned that I deserve, period.
There you go.
I deserve. That's a hard word.
That's right.
I've given so much to people. I deserve was a biggie for me.
There you go.
I've always said everything in moderation
Mm-hmm.
and do for you.
Yes.
You know, I'm going to throw this in because when I was 14 and my mother passed, I had never written before, and I wrote down a poem. And I wrote it once, and it stayed with me my whole life. Success and make me proud, and up I stand into the cloud. Sky's the limit, what's in store? Nothing left but an open door. Now, again, very emotional time of my life.
You made our guest cry, man.
I know, I'm sorry
We're not
about
supposed
that.
to do
I'm
that.
sorry about that. But I've since written 2 new verses to that, and have given the wording to Michael Shapiro, an accomplished musician, songwriter, Clint Holmes, and a number of other people, because my dream someday is to have those words put to music.
Beautiful.
Perfect.
I love it. All right, so as we
Clint will
close,
do it too. He's fabulous.
all right, so we're about to close out. Thank you for coming on.
Oh,
We
thank
appreciate it.
you. I'm so appreciative, and I had such a good time.
Good. So you'll be back on the 29th to do it again with us.
I will.
And of course, between now and then, we'll just be talking about your programs and getting people to sign up and take care of themselves. Just a quick reminder: next Saturday, Mr. Neal, it is confirmed. You and I will be on remote site.
I'm putting the skates on, baby.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna lace, well, I don't know if we're going to lace them up. I could ask about that. Maybe.
No, I want to do it.
Okay, I'll make sure we can do that.
And get the wall close enough where I don't have to.
Make sure it's padded.
Right.
So next Saturday show, special time next week at 11:30 Pacific, not 11. So we'll go from 11:30 to 12:30. We're going to be at the Fallout Shelter on West Akendo. That's down by where they're building the new
Fallout shelter.
That's very.
Really?
That's quite on. The reason for that is because on the 15th, the Atomic who we're going there to support next week are doing a fundraiser event to benefit the Nevada Childhood Cancer Foundation.
Yay.
And yes, go onto their website, atomicgirls.org. All the pricing for tickets are there. There are pre-event tickets, there are day of the event, door tickets, and she started rattling them off, and I didn't write them down, but there is a small cost, and that's what's being donated to the foundation.
Yay.
So come down, bring your family. It's a lot of fun. Neil and I will be there. My other half is going. Have you brought this up to Dorothy?
She'll probably end up going.
I know, Eileen and her, but they are working on their event roller derby names, which of course is basic for all their bouts.
And it's on a flat track, which I learned yesterday.
Yes.
I thought they had the oval, you know, where it's kind of angled, and you can,
Yeah.
you know, the girls,
No.
they pull you and they whip you around so you can pass
Right.
everybody, and there's fights, and
Well, they got to pull the jammer around, which is what I was
Jammer.
reminded of yesterday.
so
It's
they
called the jammer,
they-
and then they have the blockers.
the hammer could be the jammer.
When I met her in person, I would say she's more of a blocker.
Oh, she big
4'9" and 20 pounds.
like your wife.
It's just-
Sorry, Eileen.
yeah, Neil said that. Hi, Candy. Oh, speaking of Hammer, Candy is in there. I see Candy just joined. Candy, we're looking forward to seeing you next week. Neil wants to lace up our skates, so if there's any time we can get on the oval, probably
Yeah.
after the show, so we can at least do our show in peace. But Candy, thank you for joining. We're excited to be there and plug the event as well on the 15th. So with that, my friend, I think we're a little over our time today.
We always
This is our fan base right there.
Steve
Oh, and happy Hanukkah to everybody.
and,
First night tonight.
all the people behind us and in front of us. We have no audience today.
Well,
Yesterday we had a live audience.
We did, but-
one.
Eileen
Oh.
doesn't count as an audience,
No,
I
no, she's a
am.
guest.
but she's
Oh, I'm